And are you refreshed? Good. Now what?
Very excited. Thank you so much for everything. I listen to you all the time, and it's changed so much, everything in my life. I have been wanting to act for a very long time, and I have done it off and on, but I've never gone completely and committed myself 100% to it. But I have this desire for it. I have to do it. And I'm just wondering, why have I not done it before? Why haven't I mean, I have 3 kids and 2 dogs and a husband and all that, but
Well, so you have some other things that are important to you.
Yeah, very.
That might be why you haven't given 100% of yourself to something else.
Mm-hmm.
But we're getting to something different than what you may think that we're getting at, because what do you mean, I haven't committed myself to it 100%? What do you think you mean? What do you mean by that?
I haven't just gone for it. I haven't sought it out. I haven't,
I haven't decided to take the action yet.
Yes.
And
Like full.
But the reason that we're asking you to just slow down just a little bit and contemplate with us is because when you take the action before you've lined up the vibration, then the action is often unpleasant and unproductive. And so do you think that perhaps you can sense that you're not all the way ready for that? What we've been really talking about already here today is getting ready, being satisfied, which means ready for the next reception, which is satisfying, which makes you ready for the next reception, which is satisfying, which makes you ready for the next. And there's a lovely momentum in that. And so sometimes there's a gap between what you're ready for and what you think you really want, and you're wise enough not to jump in and use all your action and effort and commit yourself fully to something that you're not quite vibrationally ready for. And when we talk about this gap between what you're ready for and the manifestation that you desire, we're not talking about a lot of time. It can be, but it doesn't need to be. We're talking about vibrational alignment. We're talking about a tuning or attuning. And so that's why we're emphasizing that as you find satisfaction in what you're doing, it actually prepares you more for this. And this is the thing that seems counterintuitive to so many people, because what we just said is, as you focus with happiness on your family, that happiness is an indicator that you're in a vibrational state of readiness where you can receive the next and the next and the next. But often people think, well, if she just settles into a sort of distorted happiness, or maybe it's even real, but it's not everything she wants. If she makes herself believe that she's happy or satisfied with things as they are, then she'll never get to what she wants. And that isn't the way that it works at all. In fact, so often what happens with people is that because they don't know about vibration, and they don't know about their blending of vibrations, and they don't know about reaching for satisfaction, which is blending of vibration and readiness to receive the next and the next and the next. Sometimes people think that what you're doing is just settling. You're saying to the universe, all right, I'll just be satisfied with what I've got, so never mind on leading me toward all of that. But that isn't the way that it works, because through life, as you've launched those rockets, you have queued up a very wonderful vortexual version of this experience that you want to live. Also an experience that you want to live also. It is not uncommon for those who are doing extremely well at that profession to also have lovely and wonderful family life experiences. You don't have to choose one or the other. You can have it all. But here's the thing. If you were unwise and you jumped too soon into action, committing yourself fully before you were ready to be ready, then not only is there dissatisfaction in the way that unfolds, but other things that are working stop working. And so we know you followed that completely. This is the important thing that we want you all to remember. Just because you're not ready to be ready doesn't mean that your creation isn't ready for you. It doesn't mean it's being withheld from you. So the only thing that matters in this equation, because it is ready for you, The only thing that matters in this equation, because it is ready for you. The only thing that matters in this equation, because it is ready for you. The only thing that matters in this equation, because it's ready for you, is you being in the receiving mode so that you're ready to be ready, to be ready, to be ready, to be ready. You following? So that's why you say, I've done some of it. Well, yes. And as you appreciate and feel satisfied in that, then that increases the momentum about that. This is the most wonderful thing about this universe, about your inner being and all of us who dwell in the vortex, where all of what you want to call future experience and what we want to call present experience is taking place. The most wonderful thing about it is that it is known so clearly everything that you desire, and you shouldn't have to sacrifice one thing for another. And that's what giving 100% of myself to something implies. Giving 100% of myself, completely committing to this, is sacrificing this. And your inner being will never ask sacrifice from you, because your inner being knows that you can have it all, because your inner being knows that it's not about action and effort, it's about alignment, it's about attunement, it's about picking out what you want and then lining up with it. And moment to moment, or day to day, moment to moment, and therefore day to day, and therefore week to week, satisfaction really is the key in all of this. Satisfaction at this lovely experience, and this one, and that, and that, and that. This broad basis of life experience that you're feeling so much appreciation for. Yeah. And then, as we were talking earlier, the ideas begin to flow, and then it's just the next logical step. It's just the next logical step. Not anything with a big fanfare or a big sign pointing at it. It's just the most obvious and next logical step.
Mm-hmm. And it's starting to feel like that now. Now that my children are getting older, and now I feel like the next logical step is for me is to...
It's a nice thing to know that your inner being knows where you stand in terms of your physical manifestation in relationship to everything that's in your vortex. So not only does your inner being know what you want, your inner being knows what your path of least resistance is. What your path of least resistance is. And so can you feel how just in acknowledging that you're more ready, that you have more time, you are diminishing resistance that would have been more difficult for you to diminish earlier. Now, it didn't need to be, but it's your path of least resistance. Isn't that nice to know? Yeah. Enough?
Enough.
Really good.
Thank you.
You know why you think the thoughts you think? Because we're speaking to you from your human physical perspective. It's because of the momentum that law of attraction has accomplished within them. Something that you think about longer and longer and longer and longer and longer, the momentum becomes more and more and more and more and more. That's why those thoughts become beliefs. A belief is only a thought that you continue to think. So most people who don't have some big problem about something, in other words, it's easier to understand what our friend here is talking about, but most people, setting aside any big problem or any big thing in your life that you're trying to rectify, most people do the same thing for this reason. Ready for it? You would rather think a thought that has more momentum, even if it's a negative thought, than a thought that has less momentum. Momentum is enticing to you, partly because you're a creator and partly because you're a sloppy thinker. Would you rather talk to somebody about something really juicy, watch something that's really juicy, something that's really negative and really juicy and a lot of people are talking about it and thinking about it, or would you rather just quiet your mind? Yeah, you know. Because it feels to you, because you have been operating under the flawed premise that action and effort are what make things happen. So when there's lots of momentum going, you think that you're getting something done. You are, but you're not going to like it. So we've been encouraging, in fact, everything that we've said really up to this point, right at this very moment, here this morning and every day before that, is that if you realize that you are a vibrational being who is attracting based upon your point of attraction, so that you're not trying so hard to face reality, instead you are creating reality. So you let reality serve you in the way you knew that it would. You let reality serve you in your ascertaining of what you prefer, and then you do your best to give more and more of your attention to the new thought. Then what happens is you take the bounce from an unwanted reality into a reality that you prefer. But if you just keep looking at what is, then you just continue to offer vibrations about what is. You just continue the balance or the mix of your vibration as it has been.